looks like Israel and Hezbollah may be closer to a ceasefire deal than ever before. U.S. Special Envoy Amos Hochstein says that there's a real opportunity to end the fighting after meeting Lebanon's Speaker of Parliament, Nabih Berri, in Beirut. Well, following that meeting, Hezbollah leader Naim Qassem postponed his expected speech. But as the talks continue, the Iranian-backed terror group has continued to further intensify its rocket launches into central Israel as IDF troops deepen their ground operation in southern Lebanon. Our Middle East correspondent Ariel Osran has more.
Deal or no deal? Deal or no deal?
U.S. Special Envoy Amos Hochstein arrived in Beirut on Tuesday after Hezbollah responded positively to the American ceasefire proposal, apart from minor wording changes. Following his meeting with Lebanese Parliament Speaker Nabih Berri, designated by Hezbollah to represent them in the talks on the American proposal, Hochstein said the sides continued to significantly narrow the gaps.
I came back because we have a real opportunity to bring this conflict to an end.
In northern Israel, Emmanuel Onorat. Emmanuel, what is the latest in terms of the rocket fire that we've been seeing today from Lebanon?
Right, Natasha, it's been a busy day, in fact, of ongoing rocket fire and drones also coming from South Lebanon, launched by Hezbollah to northern Israel, but not just. We saw this morning that Hezbollah also launched a barrage of rockets to central Israel. And in fact, the IDF came out and said that over 75 rockets were launched to northern Israel, and not only, but also including that attack that we saw to central Israel earlier this morning. Now, the IDF's operations is still ongoing, and they've also released statements explaining that they've also killed in a targeted raid, that they've destroyed Hezbollah depots, weapons depots, and observation posts and rocket launching sites, which these rocket launching sites are also sites that do not just target northern Israel, but also central Israel. And in fact, Hezbollah released also a statement saying that it had also launched around 2 o'clock this afternoon, a barrage of rockets towards the 8200 intelligence unit headquarters around Tel Aviv. Now,
we're going to be turning to Iran now. Israel says that it has destroyed part of Iran's nuclear program in the retaliatory strikes that it carried out across the country last month. The Israeli Prime Minister has confirmed this without giving any details, but a report from the Axios news site indicates that a nuclear weapons research facility making plastic explosives at the Parchin military complex was eliminated. Now, Iran has not commented on this report, but it comes as Iran's foreign ministry is slamming new sanctions by the European Union and also the United Kingdom against Tehran over its support for Russia's war on Ukraine. And joining us now is Benham Ben Talablu. He's a senior fellow for the Foundation for Defense of Democracy. So, Benham, what kind of damage has actually been inflicted on Iran's nuclear program from what we understand in these reports?
It's a pleasure to be with you. Well, there is no clear battle damage assessment from America or from Iran here, but what we know through satellite imagery, what we know about the history of Iran's past nuclear weaponization efforts, and what we know from recent news reports and indeed the most recent Israeli confirmation, we can put together that Israel was able to both detect and destroy a facility, a nuclear site known as Talaran 2, a site which is actually never inspected by the International Atomic Energy Agency.
Now to a related story. As Israel advances its ground operations in southern Lebanon, IDF troops are finding massive troves of Russian weapons, confirming suspicions that Hezbollah has been enhancing its arsenal with the help of Russia. That is according to a new report from the Wall Street Journal, which says that some of the weapons include Russian-made modern Kornet anti-tank missiles that were manufactured as recently as 2020 and were sent to the Lebanese terror group from Syria. Now, the arms discoveries have added to concerns in Israel that Russia may be deepening its relationship with Hezbollah. This as tensions mount between the United States and Russia following U.S. President Biden's approval to allow Ukraine to strike Russia with long-range U.S. missiles. Well, a new UN report claims that 70% of those killed in the war in Gaza have been women and children. This report, which heavily criticizes Israel, has made headlines around the world. But with less than 20% of the total number of fatalities in Gaza actually verified, many analysts are questioning not just the methodology and conclusions in the report, but also the intent. Our senior correspondent Bianca Zanini breaks it down.
Images of bodies in bloody blankets after another Israeli attack in Gaza. Young Israeli soldiers forced into a terrible but necessary war, killed in combat. Heartbreaking reports of civilian suffering and death. The stories from the ground in Gaza are tough, but they're also drowning in misinformation, falsehoods, and different narratives. The international community listens to the United Nations. This Friday, the UN issued a report saying nearly 70% of those killed in Gaza were women and children. The Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza reports that around 44,000 people have been killed since the beginning of the war. Not distinguishing between fighters and civilians, they claim most are women and children. But less than 20% of the total number of deaths in the war has been independently verified so far. By September 2024, the UN Human Rights Council had been able to confirm 8,119 deaths.
As of now, we have about 10,000 fatalities that we have verified, including 4,700 children, that's about 45%, and 2,461 women, that's about 25%. So the overall 70% women and children remains for now.
Somaliland's opposition National Party has defeated incumbent President Bihi in a landslide victory. And this means that the self-declared republic faces a crucial moment in its quest for stability and international recognition. These elections are seen as a key test for the region's democratic institutions. And our Alex Schloss has the story.
Somaliland opposition leader Abdirahman Kiro defeated incumbent President Musa Bihi Abdi, setting up a handover of power as the unrecognized breakaway Somali region of Somaliland pushes for global recognition. Over 1 million voters took part in the elections. The Wadani National Party captured 63.92% of the vote, compared with Bihi's 34.81%. Bihi promised during the campaign that he would respect the results of the election. 3 candidates faced off in the elections, with each seeking to consolidate the region's fragile democracy, boost economic growth, and gain international recognition that the territory has struggled to secure for 33 years. Somaliland maintained relative stability and de facto independence since 1991.
Somaliland is a full functioning government. It has political parties. It has currencies. It's different from Somalia. It has stability. It has everything that government needs, all the elements of the state, so that international community should support Somaliland. They should look Somaliland because Somaliland is a stable country. It's a democratic country.
Hezbollah rocket fire persists. Missiles have today been launched at northern and central Israel once again. Also today, U.S. Special Envoy Amos Hochstein maintains there is a real opportunity to end the fighting between Israel and Hezbollah. That's after his meeting with Lebanon's Speaker of Parliament, Nabi Berri, in Beirut earlier on Tuesday. The new Hezbollah leader, Naim Qassem, postponing his expected speech following these latest discussions in the Lebanese capital. 410 days since the Hamas terror assault on southern Israel on the 7th of October, Hezbollah has been showing its support for Hamas in Gaza since then. IDF troops further deepening their operation on the ground in Lebanon, working to eliminate the threat on Israel's north.